So the Breytech Werewolf, this is one of 3 weapons you can earn in the Festival of the Lost loophole in the horror sectors. And we covered Jurassic Green, pretty solid pulse rifle. We've covered Horror Story, a pretty good auto rifle. So where does the Breytech Werewolf lie? And that's what we're going to be talking about. So first, let's go over the roles for this weapon. And yeah, I guess you could say we're going to be focusing on PvE because this is the only way this weapon is even remotely effective in any capacity in the current sandbox. And we'll talk about later if you guys want to get this for PvP later in the future. Hold it on standby, but again, we'll talk about that later. So let's get into some of the roles. Now, for PvE, we got Unrelenting, we have Swashbuckler, and we have Vorpal Weapon. Now, next to that, we have Dynamic Sway Reduction, we have Mulligan, and we have Force Time to Charm. Next to that, we have High Caliber Rounds, Appended Mag, Armor Piercing Rounds, and Flared Magwell. And then for the barrels, we have a Fluted Barrel, Hammer Forge Rifling, Polygonal Rifling, and Small Bore. Now, my personal role here is pretty good. I like it a lot. It is definitely PvE focused, but we have Vorpal Weapon, we have Mulligan, we have Armored Piercing Rounds, and we have a Small Bore Barrel. Now, honestly, if there was one thing I will change about that, I will probably go with 4 times the charm. Like rapidly land precision hits will return 2 rounds to the magazine, and that is probably a little bit more effective than Mulligan. I feel like Mulligan's a little bit less effective compared to 4 times the charm, but that is solely preference. And yeah, and also maybe high caliber rounds over armor piercing rounds, but again, they do pretty much the same stat with +5 range. So yeah, there's that. But for PvE, this is a very, I guess you could say, ad-friendly weapon itself. Now, I wouldn't recommend bringing this at all into any high-tier PvE activities, but if you do need a anti-barrier weapon, this weapon could potentially be that choice. The reason for that, it is in the kinetic slot, and a lot of different weapons and loadouts for this PvE sandbox currently are really solid in energy and power slots. So if you guys just want to rock double fusions and stuff like that, this could be a good anti-barrier for you. And then you could stack on Unstoppable with fusion rifles or things like that. But again, this is a very decent PvE weapon. I think certainly out of the 3 weapons in this loot pool, this looks the coolest, but is definitely not the most desirable for me. I got it, 1 drop, got a solid roll. I like it a lot, and yeah, that's it. So if you guys are wondering how to farm this, well, it's pretty simple, guys. Just like every other Festival of the Lost weapon, horror sectors are the way to go, and you get this pretty frequently. Now, when it comes to drop rates, I feel like this one is dropping the least amongst the 3 for me. Jurassic Green is definitely the highest drop for me. Horror Story is also really high in dropping rate, but yeah, Breytech Werewolf, it's not dropping as much as those other 2, but again, I don't really have a desire too much. If you guys really want this weapon to add to your collection, get it. If you guys don't, I don't think you're missing out on much. It is a decent weapon at best, even in PvE with this current sandbox. And there are some good auto rifles, but again, the sandbox even doesn't favor auto rifles as much as they should or could, so you might be wasting your time with this one. Now, will you want to be saving this weapon for a future PvE shakeup with the sandbox? I don't think so, guys. I don't think the role pool for you guys to get in general is going to be solid for anything PvE. Now we look here, bring back the barrels and bring back all the rolls, elemental capacitor, tap the trigger, and really Eye of the Storm are the only options you have for PvP. And then next to that, slide shot. That's not a very good auto rifle roll indeed. I mean, dynamic sway reduction is pretty good, but that is better on SMGs than they are on auto rifles on PvP scenarios. Next to that, ricochet rounds is pretty good, but again, there's really not much there. And then barrels are barrels. They're pretty solid choice of barrels, but again, there is no kill clip, there's no multi-kill clip. Some stuff that you really might want in a auto rifle, none of that is there. So again, I don't really think the rolls in general will ever be favorable towards PvP, even if they increase the drop rate, increase its effectiveness in PvP in the future. This weapon doesn't have a future. It's a nice weapon to have in your collections if you got vault space, but besides that, guys, there's not much to say on this weapon indeed. But with that being said, guys, that's all I have for this one. Let me know what your guys' thoughts on this weapon if you guys have it. Again, it's a mediocre PvE weapon, and I don't see a future at all with its roles in a PvP setting. So yeah, that's my take on it. If you guys enjoyed this video, found it informative, definitely drop this video a like. And if you guys are new here and want more content from me, definitely hit that subscribe button. But with that being said, that's all I got for this one. Challenger here, and I'm out.